How's it going, guys? I'm back from Cleveland and ready to get started on some work. And that means videos for you and for me and for everybody. Video for you and a video for you and a video for you. So I have done some videos with Jesse and Alex. Those will go out at some time. But they cover the fact that I'm not going to be buying any games for a year is the plan, 12 months. And I already posted a YouTube short on this, and I've elaborated on it in small amounts in other videos. But I don't know. I'm at the point where I have a lot of games in my collection, and I would love to play them more. And then also, so I'll enumerate on these points in other videos. Like I said, the ones I do with Alex and with Jesse. But it really comes down to, there are several caveats that I'm applying to my rule for myself. I mean strictly that I will not be purchasing with my own money games for myself. And alongside that comes several addendums to the rule. What that means is, if publishers send me games, which I've got one right there that a publisher sent me, that doesn't count because I'm in the purpose of content creation. And if I remove all ways of getting new content or new games into my house, then that does somewhat limit my accessibility to you as a viewer, as a friend, as a community member, as someone who is part of this group. So I'm going to accept publisher games when they send them to me. And then I'm also going to accept the Kickstarters that I've already paid for, even if I have to pay additional shipping costs. Because I've already pledged those, I've already backed those, they're coming in, but I'm happy to pay additional shipping to help out with the costs of the industry and the process of me getting my game. Happy to do that. In addition, I'm allowing myself to do trades. Over the course of the next year, if I play games from my collection and I realize that I don't like them as much, or maybe they're just not hitting the table and I want something new, then I'm okay to trade them away for other games, which means, I'll have to pay the shipping costs using pirate ship or whatever in order to do that. So there's another addendum. Publishers sending me games, me paying for shipping and collecting Kickstarters and GameFound campaigns that I've backed, and then also me buying gifts for other people. I'm going to be buying games for you all over the course of the next year, and I buy games as gifts for people somewhat frequently if I'm in the mood to do it. So I don't want to limit myself from being able to do that because I like giving gifts. So I'm not going to limit my enjoyment of something that I want to do for the sake of arbitrarily holding to some level of the rules. And then I think finally the last bit is upgrades or accessorizing or deluxifying a game. If I have games in my collection that I enjoy enough that I want to enhance the quality of them, I'm okay to invest in my games. So that doesn't bother me either. That being said, that sounds like a lot of qualifications. That sounds like a lot of, well, is there anything you're not doing? Because clearly you're giving yourselves all the outs in the world. Well, yeah, in spite of all of those things, I still spend a decent amount of money on board games. And that comes down to backing Kickstarters, crowdfunding campaigns, Kickstarter, and GameFound. I'm not going to be doing that for the next year. And that may suck. But also, I'm the kind of person, when I try to do something kind of cold turkey. I do that when I'm abstaining from alcohol or when I'm abstaining from sweets. It's just the willpower process that I go through as I try to fully abstain from something. And once I get a month into it, it's usually not that bad anymore. It's just kind of like a filter in my decision-making process. and then I move on. So I'm not really worried about it, to be honest. What is the board is a little bowed. Well, I can't do anything about that, and the person that I got this from definitely didn't know about that at all. That's fine. Ooh, that does not smell good. It smells sulfuric. Anyways, I need to put that on the board at some point. I wonder if that's why there's a little bit of a bow in it, to where that's okay. So, all of that to just say, I want to play the games I have more, and I'm really not worried about taking a break from buying stuff. Yes, there's going to be the impulse where I'm like, oh man, I kind of wish I could do that, and then I'll have to look at myself and say, no, I can't do that, and that's okay. I'll deal with that when the time comes. But for now, not too worried about it. And I guess it's a little bit of a matter of exercising restraint, enjoying the collection that I have. And part of it is because I would like to reduce my unplayed catalog to under 10, preferably under 5. Not too long before I started doing the content creation side, kind of like the video side is really, I think, what kicked it up, in addition to simultaneously starting to go to a lot of conventions last year. Conventions where I was building relationships, and conventions where I had access to stuff that I didn't previously have access to because of campaigns that passed me by, all of that nonsense. I used to get to the point, even when I was writing written reviews, where I only had like 1 or 2 games in my entire collection that were unplayed, and I really liked maintaining that level of unplayed because it gave me a very good sense of my current tastes and let me not waste space and money. Because now, I'm at the point where I have so many unplayed games where, what if I'm making purchases based off of what I have versus what I've played? And that's like a very real thing. Like I backed the second season of Unsettled, and I haven't even played the first. I got the new stuff for Unsettled, and I haven't even been able to sit down and play the first bit of it. Now, I very much have confidence in that purchase based off of having played Vindication, and then also all of the accolades that people have attributed to that game, people that I know and trust, despite, occasional differences in our opinion. But at the end of the day, I'd rather just get through what I've got and feel a sense of excitement or gratification for what I have in my collection. And then on the flip side of that, if I only have if I've played everything in my collection, then that means it's almost I think I'm internally making it to where, in addition to not buying anything, I think internally I've come to the conclusion that I want to play everything in my collection over the next year. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to make time for the games that I don't always make time for, like Twilight Imperium, like Star Wars Rebellion, like Black Rose Wars, like games I haven't played, which would be Mech vs. Minions, Eclipse, Second Dawn for the Galaxy, War of the Ring, Zia or whatever. I want to play all of those games, and I think that this will encourage me to do so more fully if I'm not continuously getting new ones. So that's kind of that's a little bit where my head's at. I don't know is that supposed to be red? Wow, that is a bad red color. Oh, well, these are where all these go. That's nice that they've kind of got a color for all of those. That makes me feel good. I don't know. And I guess part of this, and I think Smooth is going to do Smooth Rivera. Smooth, I'll say Smooth. I think it's Smooth Rivera, but I think he's planning on doing this with me. So if there are any of you that want to join me, then go ahead. Like I welcome the addition of accountability people that I can do this with. Like, I was going to get my phone and look at the timeline of what this would, like what it would be, but so yellow, and then oranges for these, I guess. And the reason why I'm interested in seeing if other people want to join is, here's my argument. If it is a retail game and it's good enough that it's worth getting, then that means that in all likelihood it's going to be around when we stop doing this in the space of a year. It's going to be around. But on the flip side of that, yellow, on the flip side of that, if it's a Kickstarter or crowdfunding game that has some level of exclusivity to it over the next year, here's several possibilities. If it's in the second half of the year, late pledges could still be open. I mean, the campaigns go on for a long time. Or also, if you haven't spent money for a whole year on buying games, then it's much less of a problem to shell out secondary market prices when you haven't spent anything. So yeah, you're paying more for it when it comes out, but at the end of the day, you've spent so much less over the course of a year that doing that for maybe one or two games wouldn't really be out of hand. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I'm like, if it's popular enough, it'll be available. If it's good enough, it'll be available. And that's kind of my reasoning for it. And I guess the reason why I'm doing this while unboxing Bus, which I found, is because this was the last game I purchased before I was like, I'm calling it quits right now. This was the last one that I spent my money on. Now, as I said, I'm still doing trades, so I have a trade that should be coming in. I should be getting a core box of Marvel Champions at some point, but I don't know. I don't feel the need to get anything else right now. And you can come up with whatever argument you want against this, but at the end of the day, I'm not really worried about the validity of my argument. It's not, honestly, because here's the thing. Number one, contextually, my life is different than yours or anybody else's. So what makes sense as an argument for me isn't necessarily going to make sense as an argument for you or for anybody else for that matter. I mean, some people are going to say, well, you have the benefit of being a content creator and you're going to be getting free games. So that's going to scratch your free game itch or your new game itch, and it won't really feel like that much of a challenge. And number one, I would say, sure, whatever you want to say to that. On the flip side of that, though, I would say that changes not at all my desire to get Kickstarters and crowdfunding stuff, and it really barely scratches the surface of stuff. Like, number one, the ability to get games for free from publishers, to just describe this, is exciting. It's fun. It feels good. There's a nice little dopamine kick for that. I'll give you that. I'll grant you that. But at the end of the day, there's a lot that people don't think about intuitively with stuff like this. When somebody sends me something, that is a compulsion or need to create content for it. People aren't going to send you stuff continuously if you don't do anything with it. Like, maybe they will for a little bit, but after a while, they're just not going to. And so, essentially, if I'm not getting paid to do the content other than the free, video or whatever, or, the review or the first impressions or the unboxing, whatever content is created for a game, if the average price of a game is $50 to $100, cool, I saved $50 to $100. But then there's the need to create content. And the need to create content kind of vastly outweighs the price value of a free game. Because I need to learn the rules, I need to play the game, and a lot of, no matter what they say, a lot of different reviewers, a lot of different content creators are going to differ on this. I try to play a game at least 3 times. And that's kind of my comfort zone for just doing a first impressions, is about 2 or 3 times depending on the thing of the game. If I want to do a full review, I try to play it at least 4 to 5 depending on the type of game. So all of that stuff, that's hours. That is hours. And I don't know what job anybody has, but like the valuation of my time, $50 for 10 hours of work is very, I don't care about that. That's just not a lot of money. So, I don't know, I feel like I've gotten off on a tangent, but all of that being said, I don't view getting games from publishers as any hindrance on me doing this mission or goal or effort to not spend my own money on games for a year. And again, like I said, there's a whole bunch of caveats to my intent. And I don't think that's a problem, because it's my intent, so who cares? But I'm excited to do it. Like to end on not a vibe of critiquing critiques of this, and to end on a positive note, I think that developing or demonstrating a certain level of restraint when it comes to purchases in a hobby that is very luxury forward in what it is as a hobby. This is an expensive and very materialistic hobby. It's fun. It's engaging. It gets you interacting with people for the most part. But it is a luxury hobby. And I think practicing restraint is a smart thing. And also, I just want to play the games I have. And I find that will be easier if I have fewer games flooding in. So that's what I'm going to do. And this is Bus. And this was my last one. And I'm happy about this one because this is kind of out of print. I don't know if Capstone has any plans of redoing this Splotter game. And this is Jesse's, one of his favorite games of all time. I really enjoyed it when I first played, and now I have it, which I'm excited about. Because for me, it's the same category as stuff like Space Hulk, Death Angel, Forbidden Stars, any of the out-of-print games that I own. If I have a copy of it, that makes me much happier because I have the opportunity to enjoy it. And as you can see, I open my games because I'm not Jesse. And I'm excited to share it with people. There you go. That rant's over. It's going to be discussed in more nuanced and other forms in the other videos that go live at some point. So, yeah. But for now, that's technically an unboxing of Bus, but it's much more me rambling. And I'm okay with that. Timestamp. Hamster.